It's time for the show that brings the magic right to your speakers. Ears Up!
All right, everyone. Thanks once again for tuning in to a live edition of the Ears Up podcast. This is Jason coming at you. All right. Cheesy radio guy. Terrence over here.
Hey.
And my lovely Taryn.
Hi.
I don't get a lovely?
No, you're not a very lovely man.
I'm something. I'm handsome,
You're something.
right?
You're
Am
not
I
lovely.
handsome?
I can't answer that question.
Yes, you
Ask
can.
me on
You're
the
not,
next show.
Well,
You're
I'm
not secure?
more lovely.
All right.
If somebody's gonna get the lovely title, it should be me.
It might as well be her, I think is what she means.
Okay. I would say, no, I'll give you this one.
Okay.
I'll give you this one.
There you go, Taryn.
Thank
Congratulations. 2 out of 3 men in the room think that you're lovely.
So, one.
I'm not gonna woo because I know that won't go well.
Yeah, especially
But I want
deep
to.
into the microphone.
Push
It doesn't,
thinks she's lovely also.
well,
Thank you.
That's all right.
So that's 3 out of 4.
You know what?
That's
Whatever.
good odds.
I don't think those are odds.
3 out of
think
4.
those are pretty
It's
much-
results, actually.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
Whatever.
Anyway,
This show is going to be very
feel like
loose
my-
and very fun.
Mike is really loud.
I love Taryn so much. Anyway, thanks again, like I said, for joining us. You can find us on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher. We're also on YouTube, everybody. So if you like watching the shows, like seeing what we do here and seeing how handsome and lovely we are, you can go to the live stream page. But those shows really... Again.
My bad.
Yeah, again. She likes... Okay. Thank
It's
you,
fine.
Taryn. I
It's
know.
fine.
You're doing great.
Everything's good.
You're doing great. Live stream, deletes our episodes after a while because we don't have like $100 a month to keep them up there. So we pull them down and put them on YouTube. I don't know. They let us, so it can't be bad, right?
All right.
Anyway, so you can check those out. I think we have like 5 up right now on the YouTube channel, and then they're all linked into our blog now too. So it's pretty cool. So you can watch an episode. And then read about it on the blog, all that kind of stuff. We're all over social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. We have feedback. If you want to do feedback, you want to send Taryn some feedback, it's Taryn at EarzUp-podcast.com. Anything else, you can go to Terrence or Jason at EarzUp-podcast.com. Don't forget to check out the blog. We have some cool Disneyland info. Actually, I found a post, Taryn, that I haven't finished yet. It was from our journey to Club 33 and Salon Nouveau.
Oh.
We took all those photos. I did, and I wrote half the blog,
really?
and I pushed save, and I was like, I'll get to this later, and then nothing happened.
Oh. You should finish that because I
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna get bad or anything. I don't know.
It's not meat. No, it won't
It's
go
not
bad.
It's not going to spoil.
It's not gonna spoil.
This blog post stinks.
Yeah. Is this still good to read? I don't know. You should smell that
What's
first.
the date on that?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's iffy. I wouldn't do it, but hey.
Yeah, we'll see. So I'll be posting that at some point whenever things calm down. You can support Ears Up. The show does take a lot to kind of put on, so head over to the blog. You can do all of your Amazon shopping through the Amazon link there on the right-hand side. It helps us out, and it helps you get to find things that you want from Amazon. Amazon.com. You can also be a donor, reoccurring or one-time donation. We understand that not everyone is cash flush in this economy. So if you want to throw us $5 or even $1, totally fine. If you want to be a reoccurring donor, of which we have a couple, and I really appreciate that, you can be that as well. You can reoccur for $5 a month or $100 a month. If you're rich and you want to give us money.
Can I just say something real quick?
Sure.
Since we were talking about live stream. Angry Becca is in the studio.
That's right.
And
Yeah, she is.
we've been talking, and she's been saying to stop calling her Angry Becca, except she just saw on the live stream that she's on camera, and she shot the most angry-looking look ever to Beverly.
Really?
I'm sorry, but I love you more than anything, but you can't be not angry Becca.
Yeah. She has a point.
That's just your thing. It
Own
doesn't.
it.
No, it's not one time. That's the problem.
Own it.
And I have no control over where the camera actually points. Ding dong.
You are a web of lies. You told me otherwise.
No, you don't have to turn around. It's fine.
Don't be rude.
Yeah, don't be rude.
Anywho.
It's perfect. You're perfect.
Yeah, this is not going too
Wow.
far.
Barf.
Yeah, right? Now you know what I have to live with. Now everyone feels sorry for me.
But she's pretty.
No, she's
Lovely.
Lovely.
There's a difference.
She is.
So speaking of lovely, Taryn and I just came back from Disneyland.
Yes.
And
Very
it was
eventful trip.
It was fun. We used our Disneyland shoes.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So we got these cushy shoes for Christmas. And I will say my feet did not hurt.
Yeah.
Ah.
It was very different.
It was very different.
My ankles they hurt a little, but way less than ever. And my actual feet did not hurt at all.
Nice.
It was
Her
amazing.
actual feet.
Her actual feet.
Yes.
Instead of her,
Not my fake ones.
her fictitious feet. Yes.
Right. Her emotional feet.
Those never hurt.
No, they don't. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. But Taryn, you specifically wanted to talk about all the Frozen stuff that we felt like we had to do.
Okay. So there's a lot of Frozen stuff at Disneyland right now.
Right.
Jason hated everything about it.
Okay.
But there was a couple really. Okay, there's one really, really.
There were 50. Well, one.
Yeah.
There was one really, really awesome thing. And so I feel like I need to preface this with I live in California. I don't see a lot of snow. And Disneyland has made it snow in California.
Okay.
They have a warehouse-sized building that is basically Arendelle.
Arendelle.
I think it's.
Blah, blah, blah.
I still say it's Asgard, but I
I
might
know,
be wrong.
I know you do, but
right.
it's not.
All right.
And you walk in, and there's all these stores, not stores, but they're like vendors, like that sell food, and they look like different stores. And then there's this whole area of fresh snow.
Where is this?
This is between what used to be the Muppets,
Too soon.
right, and Monsters Inc.
So
So there's a building in between those two things, and you go in there and you wait. Well, it depends on what time you go. We waited about 15 minutes.
Okay.
We left earlier when they said it was about 60 minutes. We said
Ooh.
no. But basically, you get to build snowman and play in the snow, and there's a sledding thing. You get to go down this slide, and I hate to tell people to go there because it probably wasn't that fun, but it was like. It was really exciting because it was something new at Disneyland, and there's snow, and it's cold, and you kind of get to slip in the snow because
Right.
it's not real snow; it's more like an icy.
It's shaved ice.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
shaved
Basically,
ice.
one big giant shave ice thing.
Okay.
But it was cool. It does. First of all, it was not cold. It was like
No.
room temperature, and that's why you slipped on all the ices because you walk, you push the snow down, and then it just ices over.
Yeah.
Because the lights are on it. It takes a lot of work to put it on because, if there's dirty snow, there's people scooping it up and they're breaking up the snow so kids can make little snowmen. And then they have the Disney photo people there
nice.
taking pictures so you can give your snowman warm hugs or whatever it is.
Right.
And then, maybe sprain an ankle.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
It did seem a little bit dangerous, but it was so fun.
I was kind of surprised that they did it because look, I have reactions like a cheetah or some form of cat, and I was slipping everywhere.
Wow.
And I don't do that. I don't slip.
I don't be slipping.
I ain't slipping.
So there's the now defunct Muppets 3D. That's the Frozen sing along.
Yes.
And then right next door to a Frozen attraction is another Frozen
Oh
attraction.
no, that's
Yeah.
not all. Then
Okay.
so the old Mad Tea Party is
Yeah.
now all Frozen.
So it's taken over like a good fifth of DCA.
Yeah.
Of an area that was basically dead anyway.
Well, yeah,
No, I'm
that's
not
the
complaining.
whole
I'm just
thing.
asking.
It's like
yeah.
the one area of DCA that there was nothing going on. They shoved all of the Frozen there, which I'm totally okay with
all
because
right with
you
that.
can either avoid it or not.
Right.
It's Frozen fun because I feel like anytime you have to put fun in the name, you're trying to convince people that it's fun, and deep down in your soul it's not fun.
Right. Okay.
That's my thought on it. So, the snow thing, it was cool, but honestly, I'm kind of surprised they were doing it because it's a hazard for
Right,
sure.
right.
Whatever. And then for the DJ thing where the Mad Tea Party used to be, they have a lady ice carving,
nice.
Olafs and snowflakes and stuff like that. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but she wasn't doing it with like a chainsaw or anything. She was doing it with a chisel.
Boo.
And
So
while this
yeah.
techno music was playing, and you expect something to happen because like,
And she's just ding, ding,
and
ding,
she's
ding,
like
ding, ding, ding.
carving as
Yeah.
fast as she can, but she can't. It's
Shouldn't there be somebody yodeling? Like,
Well,
isn't
and
that more appropriate?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, and the other thing is they don't show you what she's making until she's done, essentially.
How long did it take for her to?
Oh, I don't know.
Whittle.
We were
isn't-
there for 5 minutes.
It's whittling.
whittle the ice.
Yeah.
You were there for how long?
We were only watching that part of it for like 30 seconds.
Okay.
That's as much as we could take.
Yeah, we're like, oh yeah,
But
she's
we-
really doing it. Cool.
We were in the ice thing for a while.
Okay.
I thought it was fun. I don't
was
know.
cool.
I don't know if I would do it one more time. I wouldn't do it 3 times.
Well,
I don't think, but
2 is your
Be
limit
careful with
Twice.
my limits
on
and might
Frozen
bust a
Fun.
hip.
Yeah,
That's true.
because you know we walked up to check it out because we'd heard about it. We were hanging out with Mouse Brew, Dan from Mouse Brew, and he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So we go there, and the line just to get into the place was 60 minutes, and we're like, nope. So we left. We came back towards the end of the evening, and after a stop at Carthay, had a couple pops there, and then we were like, okay, let's check it out. And they go, oh, walk right in. I'm like, oh, this is so
Wow.
much better than waiting 60 minutes.
Yeah.
that's
And
a
then-
really good point.
Yeah,
It
and
may
then
have been more fun because of our extended trip to Carthay.
maybe. And then we walk in, and then you have to wait because they just take it in turns. I would imagine there's 50 people in that little area, and it was kind of crowded. So you have to wait, and they get like 15 minutes, I think, is what it was
Yeah,
to kind
yeah.
of play around in the snow and do their things and whatever.
Okay.
So
But yeah, we raced down. So it's 2 people per sled. So you get a sled and you slide down this.
it's like a little ramp,
Mountain.
just a little thing.
Okay.
That's in
It's-
quotes.
I mean,
it's-
you're moving for 5 seconds, and then you're at
Yeah.
the bottom. It's not big.
Okay.
And yeah, I thought it was really fun. It was a very unique experience for Disneyland.
Have you
and
guys?
that's what I like.
Have you guys seen the movie yet?
Nope.
Okay. Because it would make more
Ish.
sense.
Well,
probably.
I've sort of saw a terrible copy of it that someone brought somewhere at one point in time.
a terrible copy. You
Yeah.
mean bootleg.
No.
No, what?
Oh.
No.
What?
Oh,
That's
no.
illegal.
Do people
That
do
is
that? I don't think
illegal.
people do
That's
that even.
the- People
mom
don't do that.
My mom has a bootleg copy of Passion of the Christ. I think that's just the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, that's a little. Yeah, she's gonna get caught one way or the other.
Yeah,
Put it that way.
exactly. I know. Either now or later.
Yeah. Well, everything was fine, but I do see here you visited a torrent site. Excuse me. So, yeah, there you go. Is that it? Is it right?
Yeah, that was all. That I just wanted to talk about that because
Yeah.
of all the things that we wanted to hate about Frozen, I actually really enjoyed that one.
Right. Okay, let's do some feedback real quick.
Okay. Let's see. So, we got this. We got a 2-star review on iTunes that I want to go over.
Perfect.
Here we go. This is from RK Morris. The hosts of the podcasts cover a good amount of knowledge, but I feel like they too often get lost on personal rabbit trails.
You know, that reminds me of a story. One time, my grandma was going down the street, and then she was like, you know what happens
Hey, Jason,
sometimes is we
Jason,
get lost.
Jason,
What?
It's a rabbit
I'm,
trail.
I'm
Oh, I'm
that-
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
That's
Go ahead.
fine. The info is useful for a family trip perspective, but not for a Disney historian.
You know what else is useful? Spoons. I feel like how else are you supposed to eat
No,
soup if
the
you don't have a straw?
The spork.
Hey,
The spork
What?
is.
we're
yeah,
doing
sorry.
feedback right now.
Oh, sorry about
My
that.
bad.
Okay, go ahead.
Rabbit
So
trail.
the point of what this guy is saying is that our podcast is good for a family trip tips or such, but not for a Disney historian. I feel he is correct.
Sure.
He's absolutely correct. We
Yeah.
are not for a Disney historian because we are not historians. However, I don't really feel like that deserves 2 stars because we don't claim to be historians.
2 stars is weird. It's like those Amazon movie reviews where this guy's on Twitter. It's pretty funny. He just screenshots terrible Amazon movie reviews. And one of them was for Star Trek, the new Star Trek Into Darkness. Push you like this. And the review was 1 star, and the reason was I don't watch the Star Trek movies.
So
Yup.
so obviously it gets 1 star because it's a
Why are
terrible.
you rating it in the first place?
Yeah.
You shouldn't even be rating
I
it.
agree. I completely agree with
she
you.
didn't watch. This person didn't watch them. So, and I feel it's like this. It's like if you come to this show for a Disney historian perspective, maybe you can get some of that. I mean, we do a lot of research to figure out what we're doing. We do history of shows. We like to think we know a little bit about what we're talking about, but let's be honest, we're mainly here for personality and to help give you tips and tricks. We're the every person. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
we're the every family. We have Terrence, who represents the people side, like the kids. You know, Taryn and I, who represent the people without children, who go to the park and spend tons of money because we're adults and we can. And somewhere in the middle, we help both groups out, right?
Yeah. I think that's the point, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I know for myself, I wanted to be wanted us to become a podcast I would listen to, and I can listen to
Yeah.
us. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not going to sit here and say, well, in 1957, and go on and on and
Right.
on about stuff that people really don't care about.
Well, the flower beds
Well,
used
some
to be
people might-
located 2 degrees
Right.
east, and not many people know this.
Right.
But I talked
Yeah.
to Bob Gurr, and he knows. Like
Well, and I think what's
It's not
important
us.
Yeah.
too is like the things that we talk about, we try and be very factual about them.
Yes.
We
Yes.
don't try and spread rumors. We don't talk about things that we haven't actually figured out if it's truthful or not.
Speaking of that, I learned the other day that they're going to take Toontown and elevate it 12 feet in the air.
That's not true.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
All right,
Hopefully,
we'll see.
then they will drop it.
Yeah.
Shh,
And
no.
Move it.
Oh.
Move it out to the middle of
No.
the Pacific Ocean.
I enjoy Toontown.
Apparently,
Oh, you're the one.
yeah,
I'm
he's
the
a,
one.
he's a big fan.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? But yeah, like we try and be factual and we try to give out as much information as we can and tips because we're all big fans and
Right.
we're the everyday people that are going to Disneyland. So I think that that's what we do. But I don't think we've ever tried to claim to be any sort of Disney
No,
historian.
I don't think we are. And if this cat thinks that we are, I apologize. We didn't mean to give off that aura. There are some podcasts who do that, but that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
for
not
sure.
us.
It's not
and
us.
and that's cool. But 2 stars, I feel like we do a better job than 2
That's
stars.
a little unfair.
Everybody else is like 4 to 5, and then this guy's like 2
Well-
because we're not historians.
And that's the thing, is all dependent on what people expect.
Right.
If you're rating us on how we are as an actual podcast, there's no way we're 2 stars. If you're expecting us to be Disney historians, then yeah, I wouldn't give us 1. I wouldn't even give us 2. He was being nice at that point.
I guess he
because that's
was,
not
yeah.
what our aim is. But
Right.
if that's what his expectations were, then hey,
yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything else?
We do. We have another one,
Okay.
which is interesting because it's interesting. This is from Melanie Segala.
Steven Seagala's wife.
Yes. I thoroughly enjoy your podcast. I live in Hesperia down by Victorville, and my family has had APs for about 8 years. I've been going to Disneyland yearly until we got APs, and now it's monthly since I was 5, so 25 years. So she's
AP
30.
is annual pass.
Annual pass. I have friends that are Disney maniacs. Going through the park with them is both fun and irritating. Fun because they know something about everything on basically every surface, and irritating because when I'm standing watching the parade, I want to watch the parade and not listen to endless, streamless talking about the parade factoids, performers, costumes, rehearsal schedule, etc. When I'm on Pirates of the Caribbean, I want to look at the fire and go, ooh, ah, and not have to discuss the finer points of how Disney has patented certain effects in this ride and the name of the dog, and on and on and on. A little bit of info about
that's the real skeleton? There's no other real skeleton.
a little bit of info about each attraction is fun, but there are people like my friends who get a lot of joy out of knowing every tiny detail that's possible to know about every ride at the park and its history and Walt Disney and. Do I know every single person behind the windows on Main Street? No. Do my friends? Yes. Do they enjoy Disney or love Disneyland more than me because of that fact? Heck no. My point is, I come to your podcast to share the love of
Salty language.
to share the love and a fair amount of trivia. There are other podcasts for those who want hours of trivia with some love thrown in. Don't worry about not being experts, or rather, quote unquote, experts. Too much information can get boring and kind of ruin the magic. When you go to a magician's show, how boring would it be to know how every trick was done? Disney is magic. That's what we are celebrating here. Hope you guys have a meetup at the park one day. I will be there. Ciao. Melanie Segala. P.S. I would much rather talk about the dead people's ashes that get tossed about the Haunted Mansion than where the Haunted Mansion design came from and what year Walt Disney came up with the idea, et cetera, et cetera. You guys talk about the fun trivia, not the boring stuff. Smiley face. PPS.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
She has a lot to say.
I know where every single bathroom is in Disneyland. That's proven to be useful over and over to people we go with, and I'm more proud of that information than any other.
Do you think
Smiley
she?
face.
Do you think she added that at the PPS because it made her think she had to go to the bathroom.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
PPS?
PP. Yes. Yeah.
You're so weird. But, I think this one completely, this feedback totally counters the last one, which is like, you come to our podcast for one reason or another. If you're coming here for
Right.
history, we might not have all of it. We have
Right.
some of it. We don't have all of it.
Yeah.
If you're coming here to be entertained and, well, hopefully, and for some trivia, because I think that we have some cool trivia that other people don't, then I think it's great. And I think that these two particular feedbacks, which came back to back, which was interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it was from our last show where we kind of talked about this a little bit. I just think that's a little bit interesting. Like, it just depends on who you are, I guess.
Yeah, it does. Wherever you go.
There you are.
Thanks, Taryn, for the lovely not only feedback but commentary on said feedback.
Yep. No problem.
So today's show is we are talking with Disney Chris, and you can find him at DisneyChris.com. And Chris does something that I think is pretty fascinating. He has taken a bunch of Disney audio and put it on his website. And not only that, but he has cleaned it up and restored it. And it's if you want to take a walk through the park, man, from the point of even before it was open until now, DisneyChris.com, I'm telling you, it's a rad site. And so we're going to be speaking with Chris. I think I have Chris on the line here. Chris, are you with us?
Yes. Hi. How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good.
Perfect. Thank you for taking the time to join us here on this podcast, even though we're not true historians, apparently, like some people think. We do a pretty good job. So, yeah, man, I follow you on Twitter, and you post a lot of cool photos and songs and stuff like that. So I wanted to get you on the program here to talk a bit about your website because it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's pretty amazing. How long have you kind of been fascinated with Disney?
Oh, well, I grew up in Southern California, so I think my fascination started from the first time I went to Disneyland when I was probably less than a year old.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I have pictures, and you can tell I was pretty impressed, even at that age. So it goes back pretty far. And I turned 41 this year, so this was about 1974 was the first time I went to Disneyland.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Is it just Disneyland that your site is focused on, or is it also Disney World?
Well, the site is growing. Right now, my main focus as far as theme parks is Disneyland, but that doesn't mean that in the future, when I get everything that I am currently adding to the site for Disneyland uploaded, I probably will branch out to other parks as well.
Yeah, why not? You've done such a great job archiving all of this stuff, man. I think you would do the Disney community a great service by branching out, and I understand it's probably a lot of work.
Oh yeah, it is a lot of work.
So when did you start working on the archives on your site, DisneyChris.com?
Well, I've been collecting Disney music since I was a kid, and I just kind of got whatever I could find. I mean, back then, there was no internet. The only way to really get music was to buy it in a record store, and there was a very limited amount available. And the only place you could really hear the Tiki Room was in the Tiki Room.
Right. Yeah.
You couldn't hear it at home. There was no other way. So that made Disneyland even more special because all that music, all that unique, special music could only be heard there. You couldn't bring it home with you. There was no way. And just over time, I brought tape recorders with me to, to Disneyland, and
That's awesome.
amassed a little bit, but the sound quality wasn't that great. And then in the late 90s, Disney released a gold mine of in-park audio in a service called the Disneyland Forever. They were kiosks in the park where you could go. There were 2 locations, one on Main Street where the 20th Century Music Store is located now, and another one in Tomorrowland where the Little Green Men store is now, next to the Buzz Lightyear ride.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's always been a store, and before it became what it is now, it was still a store, and they had these kiosks in there, and for about $20 you could buy 10 songs of your choice, and you could make your own custom CD.
Wow.
That's so cool.
It was very expensive though for 10 songs.
Yeah.
Like $20, and this was 20 years ago almost. So the audio that was available was just amazing. You could buy the Casey Jr. Circus Train spiel. You could buy all this amazing audio and bring it home with you for the first time. But the problem was I was, in my 20s, pretty young guy back then, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I only could really afford over time about 4 of them. So I only got about 40 songs over, and they had hundreds and hundreds, and you could spend a fortune. This only lasted about 2 years, and then they got rid of it. They stopped doing the choose your own audio, and then they just kind of made it so that you could buy out of print CDs instead. Instead of in-park audio, you could buy like an old Disneyland record of Splash Dance or Mousercise or one of those old records, which wasn't quite as special. But so then they just eventually weaned that out so that they didn't have it anymore. Well, lo and behold, as I was starting to get more and more involved on the internet, the entire collection had leaked onto the internet. So all that music that I coveted, I could now download onto my computer. And as I was, looking through all this music, I just kept discovering more and more, and more people were releasing all this amazing audio that Disney had never commercially released, never tried to sell or make a profit on.
Wow.
Because there's not really a huge market. It's a niche market. There's only certain types of people who really appreciate it. So there's not really much profitability in trying to sell all of it.
Right.
So I'd say that the internet collecting of audio began about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I've just amassed over time. I've met up with other collectors on the internet, and we've traded, and through trading and friendships, I've just accumulated more and more and more, and I keep getting people contacting me with more rare stuff. I just redid my to-do list, and I have about 500 more things to add to the Disneyland collection.
How much do you have? How many pieces of audio do you have on your site right now?
Well, there's more than just the Disneyland stuff, but if we're talking just about Disneyland collection, currently, as of today, I have 848 audio tracks.
Wow.
And it's good stuff.
Yeah,
people.
it is.
It's stuff that it's from attractions that are no longer around. Also,
Yeah.
it's not. Not all of it, but there's a lot of that. A lot of that there. So So you have not only just Disneyland stuff, but you also have some of the audio from Walt's television shows, advertising for Disneyland before it was open.
Right. My goal is to have every. This is like the dog chasing his tail, but my goal is to have every piece of audio that ever existed in relation to Disneyland. That's probably never going to happen, but that's my goal. You have to have a reason for what you do.
Right.
But so yeah, not only do I post on my site the audio that was actually played in the parks, but I'm also including in my collection the television shows that Walt Disney produced that promoted Disneyland, and just the audio though, no video.
Right.
It's an audio only experience. I can't explain to you why, but I've always just been more fascinated with the audio than the visual.
Yeah, I could get behind that. I could see that for sure. So
Yeah.
there's a couple pieces I want to play for the guys in the studio. This one is "Take Me to Disneyland."
I want to go to Disneyland, see the sights and hear the band. I really want to go and I don't care how I get there. So much that I want to see wild animals.
I've never heard that
before. Waterfalls and monorails you hear about in fairy tales. Just sail me out to Disneyland.
No, you get the idea.
Yeah, that one's pretty repetitive. It's pretty much the same thing over and over again for about 3.5 minutes.
Just take me out to Disneyland.
And that is what. So I'm getting ahead of myself.
Should I explain what that is?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Or what I think it is?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, that one's kind of a guess because I'm not 100% sure what it is.
Okay.
But in the early 60s, Walt Disney produced a television show that was filmed live in the park at night and showed all the live acts, the in-house groups that played, musicians that played at Disneyland at the time. And the show was called Meet Me at Disneyland. And it lasted, I think it was the summer of 1962 or 1963. And it was only a local television show. And it was broadcast on Channel 9 in LA. And as far as I know, all of that footage is lost. Wow. It no longer exists. But I have a feeling, and this is only a guess, that song may have been the theme song for that television show.
Okay.
If you go on YouTube, you can actually see a video that goes along with that music, and it shows a lady in a train dancing. It's really weird. It's black and white, and it's just this strange-looking lady in a very fake-looking train.
Yeah.
With like fake lights coming from the window. It looks really weird, and if you like campy, cheesy 1960s stuff, you'll love that video.
I'll love it then.
I love that stuff too. So. But that's a guess. I'm guessing that's what it is.
Okay, fair enough.
I just came across that less than a year ago. I had never heard of it before either, but that's one of the examples of how through connections I discover more and more rare audio.
Yeah. I like this one right here. This is from the Main Gate ticket booth, the original 1956 announcement. This is what you hear as you walk up to the things, right?
Welcome to Disneyland, everyone. There are two ways in which you may visit Disneyland. They are general admission or day at Disneyland ticket books. Now, general admission to Disneyland is 50 cents for children under 12, 75 cents for junior and senior high school students, servicemen in uniform, and members of the clergy,
in uniform,
and $1 for adults. Children under 3 years of age are admitted free to the park.
Under 3.
General admission gives you access to everything in Disneyland.
Anyway, that's part of it.
Yeah, well, you have to keep in mind that was just to get in. Then you had to buy a ticket.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Each separate. Still, the tickets were about 50 cents each. So if you went on every single ride, you probably would spend about $20 for your whole day. Or less than that, including your food and everything.
Yeah. Well, when a house cost, $8,000.
Yeah, exactly.
$20 at Disneyland is pretty good. Now, this is probably the saddest piece of anything I've found in the entirety of your website, and I'm just going to play it right now. This made me hurt inside.
Hi, folks. It's a little quiet around here today. You see, during the winter, Disneyland is closed each Monday and Tuesday. In the meantime, the Disneyland Hotel across West Street is open for your pleasure and comfort. The Disneyland Hotel offers year-round resort facilities.
Anyway,
I don't know why that reminded me of National Lampoon's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I found it, I was like, if there was a rubber mouse out front, his nose would be caved in by Chevy Chase.
Park's closed. Mouse out front should have told you.
Yeah, right. Well, it wasn't until the 1980s that Disneyland became a 24/7, 365 operation. Before that, it was always closed on Mondays and Tuesdays in the winter and in the off season. But what's interesting is that even on the days off, you could ride the monorail into Tomorrowland on a round trip from the Disneyland Hotel, which is kind of fun.
Really?
Yeah, so you could still go inside the park on the monorail and have a little peek.
Oh, so you can see through at the park when there's no one there. Wow, what a trip,
Right.
man! What I like about the way you have your audio played out, Chris, is that you have a little blurb under each track that is fairly concise and really accurate and descriptive in such a short amount of time. It's just
about a paragraph for each track.
Yeah.
And I wrote those all myself. And I have a corresponding picture that goes with the audio. And in many cases, I photoshopped and cleaned up those a lot. There's a lot of very old vintage photos, so I had to clean a lot of them up and brighten them and add more color to them. So
where did you get all those photos? It seems like you have a lot of unique ones like I've never seen before.
Well, I just find them online. There's lots of people that share them, and I go to a site called Daveland.com.
Yeah.
He has a lot of them. Sometimes I find people that have them, and I ask them if I can use their picture, and then I put their name on the page where I put their picture. A lot of them are old slides that people post on their blogs, and I just spend hours and hours looking for these pictures.
That's really cool. I mean, it shows they're really clear and they're great.
Is it the same thing with the audio? Or are you finding audio all on your own, or do you have people who, they hear about what you're doing and they say, hey, I actually have this finished track from 1955 at Disneyland. Would you like to use it?
Well, I mostly started out on my own, but over time, I've teamed up with some people. I have 2 or 3 people that I kind of work really closely with, and we share pretty much everything and bounce ideas off each other. And anything that he finds, he shares with me. Anything I find, I share with him, and back and forth, that kind of a thing.
Nice.
And I sometimes do have people just contact me out of the blue saying, I saw your website. Are you interested in having this piece of audio?
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I'm like, yes, I am. So, yeah, I find a lot of it on my own, but every once in a while I get a little surprise and somebody comes to me with something rare that I didn't know I wanted until I heard it.
Well, what's the best one that you've been given?
Gosh, I can't think of them right off the top of my head. Go on to something else, and I'll think about that one for a minute, because I know there's an answer. I just have to think of it.
Well, I want to play another section of audio. This is from the Disneyland television show announcement, which I thought was pretty awesome.
From one of the world's most gifted motion picture creators comes Disneyland, whose wondrous portals open to Adventureland, Tomorrowland, Frontierland, and Fantasyland. Fantasyland, where even elephants can fly, and little boys understand the simple language of the animals they love. Tomorrowland, taking you on miraculous trips to outer space.
Anyway, you get the idea for that too. I don't know. It's all kind of blows me away. It's talk about a window to the past. So when you clean these audio clips up, and I don't want to get too technical because I don't know how many people are are like into audio. I know our very own Push Eject, our friend is in the studio, and he's a big audio guy. So in generality, what do you do? How do you do that?
Well, I use a few desktop programs that are pretty basic, but I just recently acquired one that's a little more professional grade. And I use 3 different programs. One I use for my main cutting and pasting of audio together, overlapping audio, like sound effects over music, dialogue over sound effects, etc., etc. Then I use another program to do some special effects that the main one I use doesn't quite handle very well. And then I use a third program to do all the cleaning, to get rid of the background hiss, to get rid of skipping. If it's an old record album, it's very effective at getting rid of the crackling and the skipping without leaving any trace of, sometimes the cheaper programs use very basic software that leaves kind of a metallic sound when it removes background noise and hiss. But this new program that I've been using for about six to 8 months now does a really amazing job at taking out what you don't want, but leaving in what you do want. So I'm able to, even if I find recordings that are not that great in sound quality, if I can find a way, I can usually clean them up enough. I'm very particular about what I post on my site. I won't just post anything. It has to be it can't have any background hiss, it can't have any skipping or popping or so it's before. The reason I'm very slow to add anything is because I go through every single thing and I listen for any distortions, any clicking. For example, those old television shows have a lot of editing glitches because they had, back then, they had, they used a scissor to cut and slice magnetic tape together. So sometimes when you're transitioning from one scene to another, you hear a pop or a click. So I go in and I get rid of all those. I mean, it's different when you're watching the film because you're not paying as much attention to the audio. But when you're only listening to the audio, every little click, every little distortion stands out.
I can imagine.
So I go through and I clean everything up.
Wow.
I spend hours and hours and hours on some of the more older recordings, making them as perfect as I can.
Wow.
Sometimes I have, my source material is really bad and I do the best I can. So, I mean, some of the audio is not as good as the rest, but everything is much better than what I originally started with. And so, especially with this new software I have, and it was quite expensive.
Well,
it's like a professional grade thing.
Oh,
so.
man.
It sounds like it. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like it's worth it for sure. Here's another one that I wanted to play. It's you call it a Disneyland progress report, and this is just your description here. You say a few months after the premiere of the Disneyland show, Walt gave audiences his first update on the construction progress of the soon-to-be Disneyland park. On-site footage was shown in fast motion through the use of time-lapse photography. Walt showed his sense of humor describing everything in modern slang to the beat of a jazzy tune. And I thought it was hilarious.
Now,
because,
your host, Walt Disney.
On our first television program, we showed you a blueprint for a dream. And the dream is
anyway, you don't really think of Uncle Walt as like, talking 60s jazz, bebop slang, but
as our dream became a reality.
Let me fast forward this a little bit.
With everybody getting into the act.
There it
Check this frantic bulldozer.
is. So remember, it's all like time lapse, right?
Well, I guess you'd call it a super duper scooper. Nervous. Another scent gent
strictly on the beat.
Yeah. Daddy-o.
Here's
Like,
a cool tool, a Ferris wheel for worms. There's 25 miles of ditches to dig, and par for the course is a mile a minute.
anyway, it sounds clean, right?
Yeah.
You know, you'd think for as
sure.
old as it is, man, you know, pre-park opening, I would expect it to be fuzzy and scratchy and all kinds of messed up, but it sounds great.
It's very clear that a lot of effort has been put into making this sound really good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's-
I've been working on that TV. There's actually the TV section used to be one chapter, and I had so much I had to split it up into 2 chapters.
Wow.
So now I have it where the first page is all the stuff that Walt Disney was alive and hosted, and the second page is everything after Walt that was on TV.
Okay.
So the first page covers, you know, the beginnings of Disneyland up to the mid-'60s, and the second page goes from 1967 up to, I kind of cut it off around 1995 because they really don't produce as much for TV like they used to.
Yeah.
You know, TV specials and things like they did back then.
You think they should still? I mean, I kind of missed that as a kid.
Yeah, I wish they would, you know, maybe once a year. I mean, like this upcoming 60th anniversary, have one of those old time specials where they have all the guest stars in Disneyland. I hope they don't, if they do something like that, I hope they don't do it like they did the Christmas special last December. I couldn't.
Well,
that was not my favorite.
What didn't you like about it?
My favorite, sarcastically saying, my favorite part was when they went into all the football touchdowns, and you know, they had that football guy on there, and he was talking about, you know, his prospects for the, you know, the upcoming football season.
Right.
They went on for that for about 5 minutes, and they talked about that longer than they did the than they showed any of the actual parade.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys saw that, but
No, I missed it.
Oh, you didn't miss much.
Well, now I want to go back and find it. Now I want to go back and find
you
it.
have to see it because it's a train wreck. You have to watch it.
Sounds good.
The one, you know, they have the Christmas parade every year, but it's just a big commercial. I think the ones they had back then, I mean, they were still promoting the park and trying to get people excited to go there, but it was more about, it wasn't about, you know, this is our latest film and go see it, and this is our latest product, and this is this. It was more about just good entertainment and fun, you know?
Yeah. Well, it seems like, you know, back then they worked it in a little bit less, you know, heavy-handed
in
than
your
they
face,
seem to now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's too bad.
Yeah, well, I was hopeful because the year before, the Christmas special was really well done. So I thought Disney was getting back to its roots. When Neil Patrick Harris hosted it 2 years ago, he did a terrific job.
He's great.
Yeah, he is.
But then they kind of took 3 steps backwards this past year with the special. So, I mean, there was nothing on there I'd want to add to my site, that's for sure.
And you're picky, so that means a lot. So what else I like about your site, Chris, is that you know, I think I was saying to the people here, I don't know if it was before or after we went live, but there's some stuff on here for rides that no longer exist, and one of them is from Tomorrowland, the Observatron.
Observatron.
Yeah, so it's that little like kinetic movement thing on the People Mover platform.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, just stuff I've never heard and we'll never hear again unless we come here.
I don't know if they still do it now, but when every like half hour or maybe every 15 minutes, it would start to spin around and like do all sorts of crazy things, and the arms would move up and down, and you'd hear music going with it.
They definitely don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I think they stopped doing it because people weren't really paying much attention to it, and it was kind of pointless.
Yeah, maybe they still do it, and we just don't realize it.
Yeah, for sure. Here's something that we've all seen, and I want to see if Terrence can guess this, because Terrence is a pretty good Disney historian. So, Terrence, go ahead.
Well, we won't call ourselves that.
Where have you heard this music before, Terrence?
It's Captain EO.
Wow!
Wow,
You
good
did it.
job.
Captain EO pre-show.
Yes.
High five that
Thank
one
you,
right there.
Thank you.
Good
I remember that.
Nice.
That's when you were told to put your glasses on.
Nice
Wow.
job.
One sexy beast right there.
I'm super impressed, I gotta say.
1 for 1. Those are good odds.
Nice
That's
job.
pretty good, man.
Very good odds.
Man, and you got like background music from Mickey's Star Trader, like, which is that shop after you get off of Star Tours. Like, just background music. I mean, this is what it is.
Yeah, that's it.
How cool is that, right? Oh, man, I don't know. I love this stuff. I
You
get to
want
see
to
her
know
all
a
day.
fun fact
I
about
do.
that music?
I do.
The same person who composed that music is the same person who composed the Main Street Electrical Parade music.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Wow.
If you listen to it, you'll notice a similarity in
I know
The
Yeah,
synth.
you can kind of hear it.
Yeah.
Okay.
awesome.
Taryn, look away because you're going to see this
Okay.
next. I want to see if you can figure out, if anybody can really figure this out. Where is this from?
Okay.
First person to buzz in wins.
Okay.
Anybody?
I don't get to guess.
No.
Buzzing. Oh.
Go ahead.
Sleeping Beauty's Castle?
Close.
I was gonna say like Fantasyland, but over near.
This is a dead giveaway.
Okay.
Snow White's
so
Wishing
no,
Well.
it's the Wishing Well. No, you.
Yeah.
I went
You
ants.
already
I said ants.
guessed.
Who said we get one guess?
I did.
You did.
After
you,
the fact.
You better say it earlier. Yes. Snow White's Wishing Well.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
That's correct.
That's not fair.
But as soon as she came in and started singing, everyone, even
but it was-
pushing back, we're like, oh, it's the things.
Even Angry Becca knew.
Even Angry Becca knew.
Whatever.
That was actually recorded in the 60s, and the original voice of Snow White, Adriana Castellata or Castelletti or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She came back and recorded her voice again for that.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So when you're there, you're hearing the original singer, the original voice of Snow White doing the Wishing Well.
That's cool.
Wow.
All right, here we go. We got
That was
another
really
one.
cool.
Close your
Okay.
eyes.
All right.
Close your eyes, everybody. Here we
I'm
go.
not cheating. Matterhorn.
Carousel?
Angry Becca has it. King Arthur Carousel.
Wow.
It's the original Fantasyland band organ. What's that about? What's the difference on there, Chris? Do you know?
Well, it wasn't until the 80s that they added the more familiar band organ music that has the Disney songs in it, that you probably would recognize the moment you heard it. The original Carousel just played regular carousel music that wasn't specifically Disney. It wasn't until they, in the 70s, they played Disney music, but in the 50s and 60s, they just played, Roll Out the Barrel, just all those
classics,
old
right?
songs. Yeah, they
Okay.
didn't really play Disney songs until the 70s. And then in the 80s, they added a new band organ, which is actually located behind Dumbo.
Yeah.
But the same band organ plays for Dumbo that plays for the Carousel. And then just a couple years ago, they replaced that with another new recorded soundtrack. The band organ actually doesn't play anymore.
Oh.
It's a recording. It's not live anymore.
Boo.
We have a question from our chat room.
Okay.
Greg is wondering how much stuff is still played on tapes in the park, or has stuff converted mostly to digital? Do you know?
I think that it's an ongoing. This is just my guess. I can't say for sure, but I think that a lot of the older things, like a good example would probably be Snow White's wishing well. It might still be on magnetic tape, but I think as the tape starts to wear out and little by little, they probably convert things. It's not like all at once they're converting things to digital, but as needed, as you know, whatever system they're currently using gives out its last leg, they'll probably convert that system to digital. So there's probably little places here and there that are still using magnetic reel-to-reel tapes. Something like Snow White's wishing well, I mean, I could be wrong about that, but that's the kind of thing that might still, because it's kind of a little out of the way thing that's not really connected to anything else. And there's lots of those little things throughout Disneyland that have their own specific piece of music, like the windows above Main Street. Those might still use reel-to-reels.
Oh, the little
they're
skits.
their own specific things.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, after that, the machine that's being used for that gives out, they might replace it. And I think that eventually they'll, and they may have already gotten rid of all the reel-to-reel tapes, but I don't think it's something that they just all of a sudden got rid of them all on one day. I think it's just kind of a evolving thing.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Here's something else. Speaking of things that we'll never get to hear again, this is the Swiss Chalet Terminal on the Skyway, the Fantasyland Skyway.
Oh, okay.
And keep your hands and arms inside the Skyway cabin.
You'll never, I mean, because
never hear
it doesn't exist, you know?
Yeah. That's the same music, but you can still hear that music, though, because it plays the same music as the Matterhorn.
Oh. It's the same Matterhorn music. Got it.
Yeah, but you won't hear that announcement anymore.
No.
I need
And that's,
in
by the way,
Spanish
that's
too, please.
Jack Wagner. You probably recognize his voice. He used to be known as the voice of Disneyland.
Wow.
And he did pretty much every PA announcement in the park from about 1969 up until 1993 when he passed away. And in addition to being in charge of the announcements, he also did the railroad calls on the Disneyland Railroad. You can still hear his voice doing that today. And he was in charge of all the background music throughout Disneyland and Walt Disney World. He chose all the music that played, you know, like in Adventureland and in Frontierland. That was his job, to select the music and put together the mixes for all that.
Wow.
And some of his mixes are still playing in the parks to this day.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, wow, this is rad, man. I appreciate you putting this stuff together, and so you have a lot of cool other stuff on your site that we won't get into really right now because it's a lot. But the Disneyland story, I highly recommend people go DisneylandChris.com, check out the Disneyland story. It's something Chris wrote about essentially the history of Disneyland and how everything kind of came together, and it's in my opinion, it's really well done, man. I think you did a great job.
Thanks.
He also has a wish list. Which is it's just funny because he's like, so here's everything that I have, and then here's everything that I want. So just check it all out.
That's amazing. Hey,
So-
how else are you going to get it?
Right?
Unless
So-
you ask for it.
If you're a Disney audiophile, you know, and maybe you have some of this stuff. Who knows? You know, check it out. Look through his list and see if you got it. He also has a Disneyland Records section, which is just you know all stuff from the old Disneyland records. There was one
vinyl.
where one you know
Vinyl recording.
it like takes you through a trip to Disneyland and I don't know, all kinds of fun stuff that
I want that.
you just don't have anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all, the Disneyland tour is all divided into 24 chapters. And each land has a chapter. Some lands are divided into more than one chapter. And then there's the TV stuff, and then I have the Disneyland Records section, and then I have the holiday time and Disneyland After Dark and the Disneyland Hotel, which I'm actually working on right now. And yeah, so it's a lot to If you want to check it out, make sure you have a couple days free.
Absolutely. And more importantly, you can donate to Chris on the site, too. It's non-for-profit. He makes that very clear. But like this podcast, it takes a lot, man, and especially a lot of, imagine server space and all this kind of stuff. So if check it out. And Chris, I don't donate to anything. I don't do anything like that, mainly because I'm stuck in my hole all the time. But I'm going to donate to this because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think
really
it's amazing.
Think it's great.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate the help.
You're very welcome. And before we let you go, we have a list of 7 real quick questions. They're kind of like 1 or 2 word answer questions, if you can, that we like to ask people that we interview on the show. They're Disneyland questions, and I think they're kind of fun. Okay. What's your favorite Disney attraction?
I'm gonna be controversial and say It's a Small World.
Oh, that's
okay.
nice.
All right, fair enough. What's your least favorite Disney attraction?
Interventions.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm with you there.
All right.
I don't think you're alone.
Pie-eyed Mickey or round-eyed Mickey?
Oh, goodness. I love them both.
You have to choose one.
Since I'm staring at my Mickey Mouse phone right now with pie eyes, I'm going to have to say pie eyes.
Perfect. What old ride should they bring back to Disneyland?
America Sings.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What current ride should they remove?
Can I give my same answer again?
Sure.
Interventions.
Who is your favorite Disney character?
Mickey Mouse.
Oh.
And if you could travel back in time and meet Walt Disney, what would you say to him?
Stop smoking.
Oh, that is a good one.
answer. Well played,
Good
sir.
answer.
Disney Chris, everybody.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chris, that was rad, man. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Sure.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Pretty cool. It's fun, right?
Yeah, very.
He just has so much stuff on his site, and I kind of felt bad because the pot that plays the music on here is also the pot that has Skype.
Right.
So it was hard to kind of go back and forth. So I couldn't play everything I wanted to play, but just all this kind of stuff, man. Apparently this used to play on the Matterhorn. It was a Matterhorn mountain climber announcement. Do they still do this? I don't even know.
I don't know.
It sounds really familiar.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention
No, I don't think they do.
high on the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. Our 2 young mountain climbing experts, Hans and Otto, make ready to ascend the treacherous slopes of the towering peak.
Oh, I mean, stuff that you don't hear, man. And Disney Chris, he has them all, man. This was an interesting one. I wish I had more time with him because I wanted to talk about, and this might get boring, but I don't care. I think it's hilarious. Apparently, something called the monorail bar.
This is weird.
So he mentioned that he's working on a whole section of Disneyland hotels, and so back in the day it was Disneyland, a parking lot, and the hotel,
right?
And the hotel was part of the show, right? So Disneyland is above all for a place for families. This is Chris writing, and a strict no alcohol policy has always been enforced in the park grounds. For many years, the closest spot to grab a cocktail was a small lounge conveniently located directly across from the monorail loading platform at the hotel. And this is the.
Oh.
Nice.
This is 15.
I like it.
Almost 16 full minutes of this.
I suddenly feel like having a drink.
Yeah.
Weird, right? Yeah.
I need several.
Do 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 do
Oh,
do.
that's nice.
It kind of is nice. On the main stage. Soon we'll have Jack and his Beanstalks playing live for you. Oh man, tickle the ivories there, pal. And then it's all sorts of stuff,
That's
man.
awesome. I love it.
And then there's some new stuff. So the Trader Sam's atmosphere music, current Trader Sam's Tiki Bar.
Yeah.
But nobody ever hears that because.
It's always deafeningly loud.
Uh huh. It's like Frat City in there. But it is nice. It's very Mad Men-y.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go.
I like it.
That was the Disney Chris.
I think we should make this just play throughout our house all the time.
I would be fine. I think we would get
Theme it from room to room.
a little bored with it, though.
Bathroom.
No, because it seems like there's so many different options. Like sometimes we could be like
But I think they're all
at
the same.
the tiki room. Sometimes
Oh, you
we
mean
could be,
from his site?
yeah, just everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
all the time, just
Great.
all the things, all the time.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be amazing.
We're
So he has like
losers.
a song of the week archive or song of the day and a song of the year. So you can follow him on Twitter. I think he's Disney Chris 73.
73.
73. Okay.
Yeah.
And he posts a lot of cool stuff, man, and a little bit kind of behind the scenes stuff. But he is anyway. Check it out, song of the day. If you want a new Disneyland tune every day,
I think that's my new plan.
I think it's a good plan.
Yeah,
Tom.
I agree.
Let me get to here because we have everybody's favorite new segment. I said everybody's favorite new segment.
Wait for it.
March in the
Oh, yeah.
past,
I
present
forgot what it
and
was.
future
Sorry.
with all the news that's fit to cover. It's the Ears Up Disney News.
God, that guy saying those words sounds really handsome.
He is really handsome.
Very
He's in
handsome.
studio today.
Staring at
Hi, Push.
lovingly.
Hi.
He's waving.
Our good friend Charlie Essers is here, everybody.
He's a little shy to be on the mic, I think.
He's all right.
That's surprising.
So here we go. Disney news. They are releasing more Disney is kind of going back to releasing a bunch of comics and stuff. And Mickey and Donald comic books are going to be available soon once again.
Nice.
Timeless Disney icons, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, are going to be reappearing in comic stores around the U.S. starting this April. IDW Publishing, one of the largest publishers of comics in the U.S., will use its license to the perennial Disney favorites to reprint translated versions of classic Disney comics that were originally published in foreign languages overseas. First will be Uncle Scrooge #1, followed by reprints of erstwhile titles Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Walt Disney Comics and Stories before July. All the comics will be adorned with new covers themed after Walt Disney resorts like Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, and Adventureland.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
I think that's a good idea.
Thought it was neat. Yeah, why not, man?
Mm-hmm.
This is one that's near and dear to our hearts because Taryn and I really, we just came back from Disneyland. Measles outbreak at Disneyland.
Da, da, da.
This is huge. We talked about this on
Yeah.
the last show, but
Yeah.
it's grown like insane
It is
amounts.
Yeah, it really is.
I think at last count there's 70 people that have been
But
infected by
so
this.
here's the thing. So I talked to my mom, and she's like, "Don't worry, you're vaccinated." And I was like, "Well, great."
But vaccines only last 12 years,
No,
don't they?
I'm
I'm looking at you, Angry Becca.
I think the measles one lasts your whole life.
I think even if you are vaccinated, you're still at risk to
Yes.
contract the disease.
That
Not
can't be true.
100%
No,
infected.
no, it's not true.
Sorry, honey. That's the truth.
There were
An F.
there were 5 Disneyland cast members who got contaminated, and 2 of them have been vaccinated before. So it's not
There
like
were
a surefire thing.
Oh, there were so many coughing children and people.
Oh, yeah, I know. But anyway,
Good luck with that. Good luck with
the company first heard of the outbreak January 7th, and I guess they tracked it back to a couple people coming in early in December. Orange County has confirmed 18 cases in the past month. Those 6 were not connected to the theme park. So, I mean, California does kind of have a history of they get about 60 cases a year or so. But basically, they're saying students without a measles vaccination were told to stay home until January 29th to avoid a spread of the disease that has symptoms including a fever and a blotchy body rash. I'm really
Ooh,
itchy right now.
I'm starting to itch. I don't think I can go to work until February 29th now.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Anyway, so get your immunization shots, people, and let's prevent this. Also, when you're at the park, so we were in line. This is where I think it happened. This is I think where Ground Zero was. The queue for Roger Rabbit's Tartoon Spin.
Tartoon?
I think it's pronounced Tartoon.
No, that's right.
Because it's this windy labyrinth of things that children love to touch and beat on the drums and stand on the things and touch the things and then cough while they're holding their mom's hand while they're touching something else. And it's just, this is what it is. It's this big tent of cough.
Yeah.
Cough tent city.
It could be. It could be. I would almost argue that it was more Space Mountain, where you're going down. So you get to the part where fast passes are allowed, and then you're just walking. So you're walking like a couple blocks
Walking
down
doesn't give you
to the
measles.
thing. No, I know. But as you're walking, everybody's just touching all the side rails. I touched the whole thing, and I was like, this is so gross, and I kept doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't go straight to the bathroom and wash my hands. I didn't have sanitizer
Ew,
with me.
Taryn.
I wish that I had, but I didn't. And then I forgot about it, and then I went on another ride and did the same thing. I think it's that. I think it's touching all the rails, and everybody's touching all the rails. Like, do you know how many people's hands I probably had on me at that time?
I don't know.
Anybody want a hug?
No. Not a warm hug. Anyway, go check that out, everybody. Get your immunizations, please. And if you're immunized, don't go to the parks. This article, I don't know how I feel about it. So I'm just going to read some of it. It's about Disney CEO Bob Iger and his giant compensation award for 2014. He got paid $46.6 million.
What?
For a compensation package. Now, that pales in comparison to some of Eisner's massive compensation package. Back in '77, Eisner received over $575 million when stock options he exercised. Another year was over $100 million. And so then this blog is comparing it to the average frontline cast member makes. It's like one of the read distribute whatever nonsense thing. Apparently the average hourly wage cast member is $9.42 with working not quite full time 40 hours a week. So if you work 40 hours a week, it would be 2,080 hours or $19,385 for the button pusher on Indiana Jones. Right. Which is still under the poverty line, and so in comparison, Bob Iger earned $23,335 an hour.
That's about right.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Because then this guy's like taking these people to task, or like this isn't appropriate. Even if you raise the minimum wage to $10 an hour, people are still earning below the poverty line. And should they? I don't know. Should they pay their people more? What do you think?
I do think that they should.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they have the money to do that. I'm actually surprised that they don't. However, they do say rich people stay. I mean, if we were talking about a person instead of a company, rich people stay rich because they're frugal.
Yeah.
So a rich company stays rich because they're frugal. That said, I also feel like that article, unless I heard you wrong, they broke it down so we know how much he makes per hour.
Mm-hmm.
He's not working an 8-hour day.
No.
I can guarantee that.
Right.
He's working a 17-hour day probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's got his phone blasting all the time with emails. He's probably not ever not working.
Right.
So that's the difference too. Like if you want to work at an executive level, that's what you're getting paid to do. You're getting paid to work constantly.
Exactly.
Right.
So and that doesn't make it good or bad, but I think that when articles do that, he's not making that per hour because that's not his hours.
They're
that he's
averaging
working.
it. Yeah, they're
that's
averaging
ridiculous.
it over a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
Right, and that's definitely not what he's working.
Sure, I guarantee you the person in charge of helping you off the boat for the storybook canals isn't available 24 hours a day.
Right.
Right.
That kid's going to school.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. So I just don't like when articles do that, and it makes me go, I don't agree, then I don't believe anything that you're kind of saying.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's complete nonsense. Although I will say there are companies who have shown that the model of taking care of your employees works really well.
It does.
Like In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Minimum wage there is like $11 or $12. You get profit sharing right away.
Yeah.
People treat you get paid pretty well. And I would argue that cast members at Disneyland, they're the front line for the entire thing. So they're the one creating the magic for everybody.
Right.
They're the one making sure that you and your little brats have a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
at making $9 an hour or whatever it is.
Right. And they're the ones making sure that you have a good time at $9 an hour, and the guy making thousands of dollars an hour is the guy making sure that every single theme park around the entire world and every movie that comes out and every single person who works for Disney still has a job, because he's the one that has to make the final decision.
Right.
So if you like your job, just
he handles them.
Be thankful he's doing that. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine the stress on that guy.
I have to disagree. You guys are crazy. I
Really?
highly doubt that this guy works his 17 hours and doesn't have time with his
No, not that he doesn't have.
No, not that he doesn't
This
have
guy
time with
is
his
No, he
family.
doesn't have time, but
this guy is paid for his ideas. His brain, his talent somehow is useful for Disneyland. I don't think that this guy is.
He's the president of.
tears.
He's the president of
president.
Disney.
Okay, so the
Just
president of
the
Disney.
company.
I
So
don't think he's working I don't think he's sitting at his computer for 17 hours, but I think he's playing with blocks with his kids, with his computer or with his phone in his pocket,
That could be,
buzzing.
but is that
and
really
he-
worth $23,000 an hour? No, but I do feel
Well.
like maybe his ideas, his leadership skills, those.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
when you pay a lifeguard,
right.
you're not paying for them. You're not paying for them to stand there. You're paying for them for what they know.
Sure.
So in the
but
event
you're
of
also
an emergency, that person will save your life.
but you're also paying them to stand there,
Yeah.
Yeah, to stand
to
there.
be
but-
there, right?
but
when a
honestly,
crisis happens.
The lifeguard gets paid way more than $9 an hour too.
Of course, but not that
So,
much more.
A lot more.
Not that much.
Even 15, 20 years ago when I was a lifeguard, I was getting paid at least $15 an hour. That
Right.
was a long time ago for a 15-year-old.
Yeah. Now
So
it's
you
like
get paid
25.
for what you know,
Right.
not necessarily for the amount of work you put in.
Sure, and yeah, while yes, if you have been in the corporate world, I imagine, I don't know, I don't have a job, really.
You're such a liar.
I'm just kidding. But if you've been in the corporate world that long, you're the head of Disney, you're working hard, and you worked
Yeah.
hard to
You
get
worked
there,
hard to get there.
and
I'll give him
and
that.
and you're rewarded by having a job that pays you a lot of money with a lot of cool perks, I imagine. Because you're handling a company that makes $70 billion a year, or million, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? We report it was like some
So-
insane amount of money.
Yeah.
And you have to.
So you're greenlighting these projects. You're hiring people
Yes.
to do this stuff. You're having board meetings all
Your
the time.
judgment.
If there's anything happening, you're
judgment.
there in the middle of it. And so yeah,
and look at
is it worth it? I don't know. My stock keeps going up.
And see, that's
I'm
the
all
thing.
right.
Is you have to look at the fact that he has different stock options that leads to him making as much as he makes.
Yeah.
But also look at the stress on his shoulders, because you have people. Think about the magic wristbands
The My Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy that headed that up no longer works for Disney.
Right.
Because
One
it was
bad idea.
and that's it. You're out.
Well, no, remember he decided to move on and do
Right.
something else.
It was amicable.
his
Totally
choice.
unrelated
Was
to
it
this.
completely amicable? Because I doubt it. When
Well,
he
and-
walked up to the office and his
Yeah.
stuff was outside,
Yeah.
it's not amicable.
Oh man, my people.
Don't get me wrong either. I do think that the people that work at Disney need to get paid a little bit more. I think
I do. I agree.
I did notice I had a little bit of a poor experience purchasing a Mickey Mouse ear hat this time, where like there was nobody in the store. I was at the counter. The guy was outside of the counter, and like it took him like 30 seconds to go around, just around the corner
Right.
to cashier me, and like he didn't say hi to me before he turned to his coworker and started talking about how he wasn't supposed to be scheduled today or something. And I was like, I don't know. Part of me thinks if you were making $12 or $15 an hour, maybe he would take his job a little bit more seriously.
I disagree. And
Yeah?
this is why I say it.
Okay.
Okay, so
He was waiting for that. He was like, I know this
I
is
know.
going to pop out of your mouth, and I have my
no,
rebuttal
I
ready.
disagree, because if you look at how difficult it is to actually get hired on by Disney, people are not just falling into this job. This is
That's
not
true. That's a good point. Okay.
This is not I work at McDonald's because my buddy is a shift manager there and he got me a job. There's a grueling interview process to get hired at Disney, and people know what they're getting into when they get hired by the company. And more than that, people know why they're working there. They're not working there so that they're going to be a Jungle Cruise operator or they're going to empty trash. They're looking for something else. There's a lot of people who go there who start off like, look at all the celebrities who work there. They had a final goal in mind. This is not just a job. They're looking at it as a stepping stone to something bigger. So two things: either one, you're really going to come out better in the end if this takes you where you want to in the long run. You might be making $9 an hour right now. Yeah, I understand that sucks, but you might be able to be in a better place later on. Or two, pay them more, but just don't raise ticket prices.
Yeah.
There's no reason. There's no, because the way I look at it is if you gave them all an incremental raise, there really is no reason to raise the ticket prices because you're already making money hand over fist.
Sure.
So you don't need to bring in more revenue in order to pay your people. They
Everyone
already
needs
have
to bring
enough.
in more revenue.
Not to
That
pay the
is their
people.
goal.
No.
I know it's their goal, but I'm just saying that it's not
That's their goal, but it's not necessary.
necessary to solve that problem. Is what I'm saying.
Well,
I see.
only in our eyes.
Um,
I don't
Of course,
think
in my
Disney will have
eyes.
that same.
One of my former coworkers' daughters worked at Disneyland as an intern. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys have ever heard of that,
Mhm.
but it was like for college credits.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she was paid or not, but she applied for it. She was selected for it. They ended up sending her to Disney World, but
Yeah,
I don't know how much she was getting paid for that. But
Internships usually legally cannot get
do not
paid.
pay, right? So I think it was
Especially if
either,
it's college
I think it was
credit.
just her
You either
board
get-
was
yeah.
covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, you either
So
get money or
Perhaps
college credit.
that was a situation you were presented with.
Oh, it's possible, yeah.
See,
Maybe.
we have. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I know a
that's true.
girl who's leaving for Disney World in a couple weeks, and she's not getting paid. It's an all internship, but she's looking at it as a stepping stone to something bigger. That
For
looks
sure.
great. For if you get hired on at Disneyland, it looks great. If you're an intern with Disney, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I get it. Yeah, they should get paid more money, but it really can help them out.
I
more
don't.
in the long run.
Yeah, and I mean, I really don't see the issue with. Do we have a call, Bev?
Oh, we have a call.
That's cool.
Weird.
No one. I didn't give out the phone number yet. Anyway, speaking of other controversy, this article I was going to. I thought was pretty interesting. I'm not going to read all of it because honestly I don't really understand it. It's not written very well. My apologies to Allison Hadley from the universe.byu.edu.
You did not have a call.
Okay, good. Great. BYU professor of family life, which is apparently something. You can be a professor of family life. Sarah Coyne recently completed research on young girls and the movies they watch, specifically princess movies. This is a whole article about feminism. What are the effects of exposure to Disney princess-related media on gender stereotyping, body image, pro-social behavior, and aggression in early childhood? That's what we wanted to find out, Cohen said in a lecture last year. And we've talked about this a little bit about how I really don't believe that watching Cinderella as a 3-year-old is going to make you be anorexic or bulimic or whatever the eating disorder is.
Sure didn't work for me.
I don't buy into it. I really truly feel that parenting has more to do with how your child looks at itself than the movie that they watch. But, maybe I live in a dream world. Coyne's research tested 307 preschoolers to see how much they identified with a Disney character and how much they watched the movies or played with the character's toys. Researchers also interviewed the girls' parents to gauge a children's tendencies and behavior. And that's the other thing. I think I don't think children identify with Ariel, let's say, because she's skinny and pretty. I feel like they identify with her because she sings and she looks like she has fun.
Right.
And I think we have a tendency in this world now to put a lot of adult problems on our kids, and they don't. Anyway, Coyne was expecting the girls immersed in the Disney princess culture to have a lower level of self-esteem than normal, even though all the Disney princess movies except Aladdin passed the Bechdel test, which is used as an indicator of gender bias in forms in films and other media. So, for example, the film must have at least 2 women who have names. The 2 women must talk to each other about something besides a man. This is a weird test. Anyway, 6 out of the 10 top box office releases in the U.S. passed this weird test. Disney princesses are often centered around a female heroine, so the majority of Disney films easily reach these standards. Coyne was surprised to find that the girls immersed in the princesses' culture actually had a better body image and were more confident in their, and she says gender stereotypes. Anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting that the
You're getting an applause.
essentially young girls receive a stronger sense of gender equality from Disney movies, from Disney princess movies.
Huh.
Most females in Disney movies are the heroines. That's what I've always bloody said.
I agree with you.
Come on.
Watch your mouth.
I said bloody. It's fine. I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was really fascinating that finally there's actually a study that I agree with.
Well, I think it's all how you. I mean, I can't argue with you at all. I think it's just how you raise your kid. You raise them to either feel like they have to live up to being a princess or to feel like princesses are really cool and they're heroic and they have these other attributes besides their beauty.
More importantly, this is not real.
Right.
This is real. Life is real. This is not. This is a cartoon. And isn't that funny? Then let's move on and talk about reality for a second.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
No, you do know. You're right.
I am. Well, that's true. I am right.
Well, if you look at all the Disney princesses too, they all have some like huge I can't even
Obstacle.
think of it. No, not an obstacle. They have character and they have self-respect.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, there's not one who's
Look at-
just a pushover.
Yeah, look at Cinderella. I mean, she was
Yeah.
like pushed around, but then she's like, no, and my fairy godmother gave me the confidence I needed to break out of this.
Right.
Yeah, so they
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
to
haven't seen
me,
it.
they've already got it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do the fact of the show real fast. This one is about Jingles the horse. Jingles is the King Arthur Carousel's official lead horse. Prior to the attraction's automation, ride operators used Jingles the horse to count how many times the carousel had gone around, and that's when they would presumably end the ride after a certain number. Jingles is easily identified by the rows of jingle bells draped on her torso, another row of bells wrapped around the saddle's cantle, whatever that is, and she also wears a crown of wonderfully carved flowers. On April 8th, 2008, the Julie Andrews, I don't know why it says that. On April 8th, 2008, Julie Andrews was honored for her 50 years of contributions to Disney. The lead carousel horse, Jingles, was repainted and dedicated to commemorate Andrews' accomplishments. She was also made a Disneyland ambassador and honorary cast member. So next time you get on the King Arthur's Carousel, try to sit on Jingles, man. That's the lead horse.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you think she gets paid $9 an hour?
Probably.
She gets $9 an hour as an honorary cast member.
You think she gets sign-ins? She's like, come on, I have 4 people I need to get in. Well, sorry, Miss Andrews, you let 3. You only have 3 sign-ins left. I can't. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody, and thanks again to Disney Chris. You can check him out at DisneyChris.com for a lot of really cool audio archives. Until next time, everyone. See you in the parks.